Hello, witches, and those of you who love them. Welcome to the Witches Movie Coven. Grab your goat, grab some chocolate, grab some more chocolate, and maybe a chocolate river or two, because we're talking about Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Country, whatever the name of it is. The Johnny Depp version of Willy Wonka is what we're talking about tonight. Hope you watched it, and if not, we're going to get you there. My name is Patty Negri. I am one of your hosts. You might know me from my regular podcast, The Witching Hour, from Ghost Adventures, from Portals to Hell, from Bathroom Walls across America. But I am honored to be here with my fellow Coven members. So let me pass them on to introduce themselves to you, beginning with the beautiful Courtney Buckley.
That's me, Courtney Buckley, Ghost Bait on Scared and Alone. I'm so excited to be back. I missed last week because I got my next procedure done, which went far better than the first. Fingers crossed it stays that way. And as a nice reward, you may hear it, I have a little bit of something going on here because I bought myself a new piercing for survival. So new and improved, more jewelry. And I'm ready to go.
Perfection, rock and roll. All right. All the way down to the ever holiday, Jason Mankey.
I am Jason Mankey, 10-time Llewellyn author, 10-time one of those books, Llewellyn's Little Book of Yule. I'm ready for the holidays. I got my Krampus shirt on, and I'm ready to go. Boom.
Thank you very much. And in lovely lavender, Richard Lael Lillard.
Richard Lael is one name. I am Richard Lael. If I were just Richard, I would be a. That is right. And I am in lavender because lilac, that color, looks berry grape on me. I did that on purple. I hope you like those plums. I hope they don't make you puce.
Oh, no.
I am known as the Gentleman Psychic. Also, just by the way, hit the join the coven over here, hit the like, subscribe. All of the comments help to keep the channel going. We do appreciate it so much. Anyway, with that.
Thank you very much. And if Heather looks a little different to you this evening, it is because Heather is not with us this evening. She is somewhere better, more fun, doing something different. But we have the wonderful, the one and only, very moving around as we speak, Chad Hatter. Welcome, Chad.
Hi, everyone. Sorry I'm tardy.
It's okay. Thank you for joining us.
It's a grand entrance and a grand chair.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm at V's house, and this is her her emerald throne, and I've commandeered it.
It's beautiful. All right, so let's go back to our tonight's movie. It is Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, 2005, starring Johnny Depp. Hopefully you guys all watched it, or most of it, or whatever we do. But just in case you didn't, Richard Lael, do you happen to have an unbiased, complete synopsis of this lovely film?
I certainly do, but tonight I'm doing something completely different. So many of you may know I actually used to play Willy Wonka for several years. That was me actually a few years back when I played Willy Wonka. So I'm going to tell the story as I did when I played the role. So greetings to you, my dear sweet children of the corn. It is I, Mr. Willy Wonka himself, but you can call me Willy. Everybody plays with Willy, some more than others. I'm not looking at you, Jason Mankey, for any reason in particular. I am known from Brazil to Cologne. I am, as they say in Francais, a chocolatier. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and ghouls, guys and gals, and non-binary pals, I'm a fudge packer. I never tire of packing fudge. I have been known to pack fudge for 24 hours a day. But don't you worry, no purple glove, no purple love. Well, looks like I just came out of the closet where I keep my purple coats. I don't know where you keep your coats, Chad, but mine were certainly in the closet. Now, I know what you're wondering, how we got here. Well, I went on the quest to make the most delectable treats. So I went into the jungles of Loompa Land. It's a real place. Look it up. Anyway, I was in the jungles of Loompa Land where I met this tribe of pygmies and in no way colonized them and paid them only in cacao beans. That's about right. Anyway, so I decided to shutter my factory and no one could come in my back door. That's because all of my staff, Brandon, were stealing my materials. Brandon. Anyway, thanks, Chad. You got that reference. Anyway, I decided to have a contest because I found a gray hair and I needed a hair. So I decided I would have 6 golden tickets, but we can only talk about 5 for legal purposes. Anyway, the golden tickets were as follows. Augustus Gloop, that greedy nincompoop, fell in my chocolate soup. There's no need to beg or pray. We simply changed his DNA. Gitchy, gitchy, ya, ya, da, da, a real chocolate opera. Salt. Her want was her greatest fault. I want, I want. I want a squirrel, she said with a twirl. And then down, down, down the garbage chute. Oh, listen. Is that my little flute? I can't remember the name. Just a second. Violet Beauregard. There she is. Violet Beauregard. Violet Beauregard chewed her gum without regard. I tried to like her, tried really hard. So she was rolled away, a blueberry dismay, but we aimed to please, so my workers gave her a tiny squeeze. Mike TV loved his screen, the brightest boy you've ever seen. Hacked the golden ticket, won the prize, so we shrank him down to fun size. And the least, the last, the one with the sad past. I once knew a boy from Nantucket, sweet little Charlie Bucket. He had a smile so big, one day I knew I would finally give away my chocolate factory. And if you thought that I was going to say something else, that is really gross. That is Anyway, he climbed on my rocket and we zipped to outer space where we saved the whole human race.
Holy crap.
Sadly, after the filming, his father died. But there is no need to be dismayed. He and his mother bought a lovely Victorian motel just off the highway. Little psycho, God love him.
Oh my God.
Anyway, as it would be, because of the fates, all the return mail is now Master Bates. And now you know, dear children, why schnozberries taste like schnozberries.
Okay. Wow.
Bravo. Oh, thank
That
you.
was something.
Now I know everything that happened on any part I fell asleep on.
I will never watch that movie the same way ever again.
Well, my name is Willy Wanker.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, we do not have Heather, sadly, but I do hear we have a lovely fill-in Heather today. They got the scarf. Oh, Jason, do you have 5 things we do need to know about this film? And then to what Richard Leal give us.
Kind of, but I know Chad's on a limited time thing, so I'm going to try to do these really, really quick. Most of you already know that this is based on Roald Dahl's book, which was released in 1964. Dahl lived a very exciting life. He was a fighter pilot in World War II and later worked for British intelligence. And he used to seduce ladies at the U.S. embassy that UK had to find out like what U.S. war plans were. This is a true story. Anyways, he also wrote movies like Chitty Chitty Bang Bang and the James Bond film You Only Live Twice. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory came from Dahl's experiences as a child where he would taste test chocolate. And he was also intrigued by chocolate spies who worked for Cadbury and Rowntree, English's largest chocolate producers at the time. The book has actually been sort of revised several times, generally to make it less offensive and more inclusive. The Oompa Loompas are sort of the biggest change in that. Also, they got rid of corporal punishment. One line was changed from "she needs a really good spanking" to she needs a really good talking to. There was a sequel to the book called Charlie and the Great Glass Elevator, which was released in 1972, the year after Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory was released. The best of these movies. Anyways, Dahl originally wrote the script to the original movie, but it was
And he
later
hated it.
revised, and he disowned the film. So the movie was not a success upon its initial release, earning
Couldn't
$4
imagine
million
why.
on a $3 million budget. The rights to the film lapsed and then were picked up by Warner Brothers in 1978. And Warner Brothers got the film on television, notably cable television. And by the end of the 80s, it had become a cult classic. When it was re-released in 1996, it made $21 million at the box office. Sammy Davis's only number one hit, The Candyman, is a cover from that particular movie. So Dahl died in 1990, and Warner Brothers purchased the rights to the book and characters in 1998, and they gave his estate full artistic control, including actors and directors, for the films about Willy Wonka and Charlie Bucket. The film was in development hell for several years. Martin Scorsese was attached to it at one point, and potential Willy Wonkas over the years included Bill Murray, Christopher Walken, Steve Martin, Robin Williams, Nicolas Cage, Jim Carrey, Michael Keaton, Robert De Niro, Brad Pitt, Will Smith, Mike Myers, Ben Stiller, Leslie Nielsen, John Cleese, Eric Idle, Michael Palin, Patrick Stewart, and Adam Sandler. Dustin Hoffman and Marilyn Manson reportedly sought the role, as well as did Michael Jackson, who really, really wanted to be Willy Wonka, which would have made for a very, very, very creepy film. Eventually, Tim Burton is attached to it. He said he had the most fun of his entire career making this movie. He only really wanted Johnny Depp to play Wonka, but he said his second choice, had Depp been unavailable, was Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Oh my
Speaking
God.
of Michael Jackson, Depp's performance, that's true, actually, it's really true. Depp's performance was compared to Michael Jackson. Johnny Depp denied any connection to Michael Jackson, that he did not base his Willy Wonka on Jackson. And then Tim Burton said, and this is not an exact quote, Depp's Wonka hates children, while Michael Jackson, really likes children. Again, this is not an exact quote, but he said something very similar to that. The movie was a big hit. It earned $476 million and only cost $150 million to make. This film has been called a Generation Z touchstone, but in later years, Depp's performance was often criticized and has hurt the enduring popularity of the film. Most of you already know that in 2023, a prequel of sorts was released starring Timothée Chalamet, and that was called Wonka. That also made a lot of money, and a sequel to that is probably on the way. And that is a few things to know about Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Thank you, Heather. Jason, that was fabulous. I didn't know any of that. That's amazing.
Yep.
That is amazing. Okay, Chad, if you're coming and going, chalk.
Okay, I actually think Nicolas Cage would be a perfect Willy Wonka because I think that he's just like
Weird.
appropriately deranged enough to do it justice. I think Johnny is perfect casting had he been with a different director. I think that he wasn't reined in enough. And I think the biggest problem with his performance is the notion that Willy Wonka hates children, because if you read the book, that is not the case at all. Every time the kids, it's most noticeable with Violet. When she pops the gum in her mouth, he has a full-on panic attack and like begs her to spit it out. And Johnny just is like, cool, off you pop. And unfortunately, Gene Wilder did the same thing. But I think
Yes,
that,
which is why I despised it.
well, so what you all don't know is that this is a conversation that this is an argument that Richard Lale and I have had many, many, many times
For a decade.
for over a decade, where if I had to choose which one I thought was the better of the two films, I pick the Gene Wilder version, and the reason why is because I think it is the closest in tone to the book. Because the book is very lighthearted. It is a very fun. There's lots of wordplay. The square candies that look round are my favorite. One of my favorite of the doll puns. My biggest issue with the Tim Burton version is that they changed too much of it. When you look at the Gene Wilder version and the Tim Burton version, both have the same number of deleted characters. They have the same number of added events. They have the same number of plot changes. They have the same number of like added characters, deleted characters. I may have already said that, but so neither one is technically closer to the book. The one thing that the Tim Burton version does have going for it is, with the exception of Johnny Depp's Wonka costume, nearly every single set matches the description of the book perfectly.
Mhm.
Most noticeably with the boat, because the big sort of Viking-esque candy boat it matches the description almost flawlessly. It doesn't look like a seahorse in the description in the book, but I think that was actually a really worthwhile addition. um I also think that if when I first heard that Johnny was going to be playing Willy Wonka, I got so excited because I thought, oh my god, he's going to make him like a rock star, and he just he missed the boat, if you'll pardon the pun. I love Johnny, I do. I'm saying this in the home of Venial, so it feels like sacrilege, but um, he he made him this agoraphobic, germophobic shut-in, and it's like, bro, he's rescuing Oompa Loompas, and he's traveling through jungles, and he's doing all these really heroic actions. In Charlie and the Great Glass Elevator, when they come face to spoiler, when they come face to face with a group of Vermicious Canids, the Vermicious Canids recognize him, and there's a moment where they're almost afraid of him, but the difference is that now they outnumber him, and that's the only thing they have on him in that book, is that he's outnumbered. But if he was going one-on-one with a Vermicious Canid, the Canid would be screwed. And that was what Johnny missed, is he went the wrong direction, unfortunately. I love his costume, but it's not the description in the book. If you want to see a really accurate portrayal of what he looks like in the book, look at him from the West End, not the American. Look at him from the West End production, where they did the plum-colored tailcoat and the bottle green trousers, and they filled in some of the empty spaces a little bit, but he's got the sleek black top hat and the gray pearly gloves. Um, I think that's it. Richard Lale, have I missed anything from our usual arguments? Did I get everything off of the
Well,
soapbox?
most everything, excepting with the fact that I do think that it is so much more accurate. This one is so much more accurate to the book, especially because in the 1972 version, the Chocolate River looked like sewage. It looked awful. And I liked in this version that they go down this tunnel, dark, dark, dark tunnel, and then they go into the meadow. In the 1972 version, there are windows in the chocolate factory. Now, if you're going down into the red hot magma of Earth's core, which of course is good for thermodynamics, children, then why would there be windows in the factory? There should
But
not be, in
But
fact.
there's windows in the Tim Burton version too. There's big round ones up because
They're
there's
up
shafts
top,
of light.
and those are other parts where you do get to see, like when you're going on top of the mountain, but
I,
not
I
underground.
think I think that if we're going to compare the two, you have to be a little forgiving of the technology at the time, because there is an interview with Roald Dahl that was filmed on the set where he talks about being in the chocolate room and how magnificent the set is. Now, that was before, I think, and we've talked about this, I think that was before he found out they had altered the script quite a bit. But he famously was not the best at script writing, and Chitty Chitty Bang Bang is a pretty good example of that. I don't think the changes they made to make it work like a film were necessarily bad, but I do think.
I will tell you why I had why I did not. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm gonna shut up soon.
No, no, no. That's why we're here.
I'm going to tell you why I didn't like Gene Wilder in the role. I love Gene Wilder in so many things, but the book has Willy Wonka's voice as being high and melodic. Now, I don't like Johnny Depp's George W. Bush, George Herbert Walker Bush. Greetings to you, my dear sweet children. I'm George Bush. I didn't like that either. But I did not like the fact that Willy Wonka was, number one, he did not have a high and melodic voice. He was just Gene Wilder, and Gene Wilder was always Gene Wilder. I also didn't like the fact that, where was I going? I didn't like the fact that, hi, V. I didn't like the fact that
Okay,
Gene
now you can say hi.
Hi, darling.
Hi.
I'm just looking at pies.
'Tis the season.
I didn't like the fact that Gene Wilder was a liar. He stumbled, he comes out, and then he does the tumble and he falls and he lies. He only wanted to do the show, to do the film, if they allowed him to do the tumble, because he didn't want people to trust Willy Wonka. And Willy Wonka is all about appearances. And Willy Wonka is good.
That is a really interesting point that you and I have never discussed before.
It irritates me. I don't like liars. And Willy Wonka Gene Wilder's Wonka is a liar. And then
I'm conflicted because on the one hand, I like it, but on the other hand, okay, give me one sec. V, the knife is coming out clean, but it's still a little gelatinous. Should we just let it sit for a minute? Yeah.
It's like a cooking show.
I know. Anyone out there who knows who Fanny Craddock is? I spent the morning showing V clips of Fanny Craddock, like baking like a mad woman. Highly recommend. 10 out of 10. Anyway, please continue. Right, him as a liar is a very interesting.
It really bothered me. It bothered me so much.
It's a very valid argument because at the end, he said that he was wanting to find a child who was truthful, like, an honest, caring individual to take over the factory. And why would he present a counter to that from the jump? So
He's a liar. And then I didn't like his, especially if he knows that he's giving the chocolate factory to Charlie. He knows this. He knows it. That yelling, "Good day, sir. I said good day." Growing up in the Midwest and having family members who acted that way, it gave me PTSD, and I hated that. It made me nauseous. It absolutely made me sick to my stomach. I hated it. And visually, I liked when I read the book, it reminded me more of the 2005 version. And that's I'm going to let other people talk, because otherwise we'll be talking all night.
Okay, Chad, any last words before we move on from that?
Richard Lale and I have often discussed that the only two people who could ever, I'm so sorry, the only planet who could play Willy Wonka and actually do it justice is either him or me, but only if the other one was directing. And I have to agree with that.
That's good. Maybe we'll have to get some dueling Wonkas or something.
We'll have a Wonkoff.
Yeah, a Wonkoff. Jason, I saw a hand.
Oh no, I'm just enjoying the crossfire. This is,
yeah, me too.
I poured a big glass of whiskey. I just wanted to watch the Wonka aficionados go at it for a while, and then chime in at the end. That was my plan for the whole day.
I will say though, I am lucky because at the time I was playing Willy Wonka, I was the only Willy Wonka in the world to actually have the approval of Johnny Depp, Tim Burton, the Dahl Estate, the Nestle Corporation, Paramount, and Warner Brothers. I had all of their approval, and they all were kind of afraid of the other one knowing that I existed. And then they were like, "Oh yeah, no, we've tried Gene Wilder impersonators, we've tried Johnny Depp impersonators. Both of them fell flat, but you are Willy Wonka. You embody that character, and I'm going to tell you why." Because even though my jokes are, someone laughed one time. They said, "Those are the cleanest, dirty jokes I've ever heard." And my daughter is poking me and saying, "Mommy, why is it funny that Willy Wonka packs fudge?" But the truth is,
We need a shirt with that on it.
Roald Dahl was, before writing children's stories, he wrote horror stories and adult stories. In fact, the Schnozberries line actually comes from an earlier work of adult stories where they put the schnoz in the berries. Mm-hmm. So the fact that that's funny. Yeah. The fact I'm all over the place. That distracted me. Never mind. I'm moving on. That's it. I go on to somebody else.
Here's a question for y'all. Have you guys seen my replica Gene Wilder Wonka costume?
Brilliant.
No.
Brilliant.
Can we?
Yeah. Can I share it, or do I need to text it to someone real quick?
Text it to Rob. That's easiest.
Okay,
Our producer.
I'm gonna disappear just a moment.
Okay.
His costume is really good. Mine was also really good, but mine was, at the time, mine was accurate to the Depp version. I haven't played Willy Wonka in a great many years. That was me, a few years back before I grew facial hair and gained a few pounds. I've been getting high on my own supply, apparently. So
When I saw that picture first tonight, though, I just thought that was a picture of Johnny Depp's
Yeah.
Wonka. I mean,
Right.
it takes a second to see you in that
It does.
because it's
actually,
like
it's really
your
fun.
facial expression is so perfect.
When I played Willy Wonka, I did it at a Tim Burton inspired bar and restaurant, and I had a psychologist come up to me, and she said to me, "You are so scary," and I said, "Why on earth would you say that?" She said, "No, you don't understand. I'm a psychologist. I actually work in prisons with people who are crazy, and they have these sort of, and you don't break. And I don't know what you're thinking, and it's terrifying. It's terrifying." So I would actually get into character. She said, I watched you, and you, even when you don't even think people are watching, you are in character. But that was because I understood Willy Wonka. It was all about the presentation. It was all about the public. It was all about the public purview. And I understand also being a recluse and wanting to be in your own world of your own creation. In fact, had I not had the show tonight, I was in the back painting, which is why I'm wearing gloves tonight. I mean, I get it. I understand him.
I think I think you channel characters. I think really good actors actually are
It's true.
channeling a spirit, a character. It doesn't have to be a dead character, a rare character, and you do.
And
Like
it is. I'm sorry to interrupt again, but you're right, Patty. It is channeling. It is witchcraft.
it
Because
is.
anytime I take on a role, I say to the universe, to the beings that exist, I tell them, whoever you are, whether you are a real person, inspire me, come into me, show me. If you were a fictional character, inspire me, show me the people that inspired the author. I want for people to walk in and go, wow, that's exactly what I saw. I mean, even what is that, Wizard of Oz? No, Alice in Wonderland, that your friend Chad, that guy
Oh,
used
Looking Glass Wars.
in Glass Wars. He asked for me to play the White Rabbit, and he walked in and went, "Whoa, that's how do you exist?"
He's underselling what he did because we made him this the character is named Bibwit Hart, which is an anagram of White Rabbit, and he's a tutor, and he's a frumpy old he's out of touch with the young people, and Richard Lale was given these notes, and I dressed him in a vaguely 18th century floor length high collar. It was a robe. He had this wig that went back like it might have been rabbit ears. He had facial hair, heeled shoes, breeches. And he decided in his infinite wisdom, he's like, okay, if I'm playing an old teacher who's out of touch with young people, I'm going to lean into that. And he created this character who spoke in puns, but they were intentional, but they were not intentional for the character. So he was making these multiple entendres that were so inappropriate and funny, but he never broke. So everyone around him is laughing hysterically, and I can't remember what all of them were, but he said something. There was once where someone made a comment about how argumentative he was, and he said, yes, I've always tried to be a master at my craft, particularly when it comes to debating. I've often been called, a very, very masterful debater. And everyone is snickering, and he goes, yes, I think I've debated rather beautifully in the past. And I said, well, it's remarkable how you relate to everyone. And he's like, yes, I relate to myself 2 or 3 times a night, and like he's saying these things, and I was like, what would happen if I just threw a really obvious cannonball at him? And so I said, well, I know you're also quite you have your farm that you retreat to in the summer months. And he's like, yes, I have quite the menagerie of animals. I said, yes, I know you're very proud of your rooster. He said, yes, I have a magnificent cock. It's enormous, really. And it was like, in context, was not indecent, but was indecent, and it was the funniest thing. And he never, it was frightening. He never broke. Never. Everyone else is just modeling costumes. He was this, it was alarming. It was absolutely, it was hysterically funny. And I will forever regret that we have no footage. They were filming, but we never got the footage. And it's just, there's only a handful of actors that I've ever had the privilege of dressing in my life where they're not where they should be. And Richard Lale is one of those actors who he should be on the stage headlining in opera and pantomime and the theater, because he can fill a space like you cannot imagine. I myself have had him perform for me many times, and he's always been able to fill my space. And I just
We've
see, I
also
can't do it
discussed
as
that.
masterfully as he does.
Anyway, back to the film.
Yeah, that was
Real quick. Producer Rob, I sent you the photos, and I included one other role doll character I have played in the past.
And brilliant, right? And this
Oh,
front
I've
end.
seen that one.
My goodness.
wow.
I'm having nightmares, but in the best way.
Wow.
Oh, Chad, I'm terrified of you right now.
Yeah, little kids knew instantly who I was as the Trunchbull, and they were terrified, and the adults were like mesmerized by it. Actually, this is the best compliment I've ever received in my life. V's watching me just perform as the Trunchbull, and she just goes, never cosplay another character ever again. Only be her, because this is a delight.
Give us the
And
performance.
I hold on. It took a minute to get into character, but once I was all put together, and this was the voice I went with, like, so you're Wormwood, and I was in these 4-inch platform boots, so I'm 6'5" with boobs out to here and hips with a riding crop, and I would walk up to children and I would just lean over them, and it was hysterically funny. Yeah,
Wow.
there she is.
Yeah.
Richard
Wow.
Lale, do you want to tell them about the holy grail of my Wonka costume?
No,
Yes.
you tell them. I know it's the waistcoat, but you tell them.
Okay, so my waistcoat, my vest that I'm wearing there is cut from the same bolt of fabric that Jean's vest was cut from. It is the fabric from the movie.
Wow.
And the person who had it did not know what it was, and so I got it for a steal. And I made the waistcoat, and then I chopped up the remaining pieces into these little squares, and I sold them to Willy Wonka fans, and they framed them and have them in their collections, and
Mm-hmm.
it's a very wild fabric to play with, because it looks like one thing in person and it looks like something completely different on camera, and
It's beautiful. In
Yeah.
person, it is beautiful. And Chadwick is one of the great designers in the world. I mean, talented beyond.
I enjoyed the Wicked pictures this week, Chad.
Oh, thank
And
you.
yeah.
Yes. Beautiful.
If you don't follow Chad Hatter on Instagram, you should go out right now immediately and follow Chad Hatter on Instagram. Just what he posts is just always like amazing to the eye to see.
Chadwick and I have a very special relationship.
He's a pip.
Anyway, yes, that's actually true. But the funny thing, yes, there's a great shot of his waistcoat. The great thing about Chadwick and I is when we first encountered each other. So I had moved to Los Angeles. It's a long story, but I had moved there with next to nothing, and I needed a way to make money. So quickly, I was Willy Wonka, and I became the best Willy Wonka, not just on the boulevard, the best. And I started making really good money. And then Chadwick was, well, should I tell that story? You tell it.
Let me do my portion of it. So I was visiting Los Angeles, and this was in 2010. Alice in Wonderland had just came out, and I had replicated Johnny Depp's Mad Hatter costume because I just thought it was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen in my life. And one of my friends would go down to Hollywood Boulevard, and she took a prom dress and a blonde wig, and she would go be Barbie, and she would make $500 or $600 a day just taking pictures with people for tips. And she said, you should bring the Hatter costume and we'll go see if you can make some money. And I go, okay, cool. And so I go, and I did not realize that Hollywood Boulevard is this entire subculture, and there are rules, and people who are down there have plots of land and specific like pieces of the sidewalk that are theirs. And like if you encroach on someone's begonias, they'll throw bleach on your costume, like people have been stabbed. It is a wild reality, and I didn't know any of that. And so I go down there, and all of the people who are down there are just losing their minds over my costume because it was very intricate. And one person says, oh, but there's already someone down here doing a Johnny Depp character. Like, you can't be on this block. If he finds you on this block, like, you're gonna get in trouble. And I was like, really? And they were like, yeah, no, you need to be careful. People take it very seriously. Like, this is a job, and this is this, and this is this, and don't piss him off because I don't know how he would react. And I was like, oh my God, okay. Well, so I go to a separate area thinking I'm totally fine. And I'm just standing there taking pictures with people for $1 or $2. And I hear this voice behind me go, my goodness, what a spectacular top hat. And I turn to say thank you, and it's Willy Wonka, and I shit myself because I'm like, oh God, he found me. This is the end. Like, I'm getting stabbed today. I'm gonna get shanked. It's good. It's fine. This is it. What a way to go. And he comes around in front, and he's got his cane, and he's got his hand up, and he looks down to the ground, and he looks back up, and he goes, well done. Very well done. And right then, a tourist walked up and said, oh my God, can I get a photo? And he whipped around, and he was like, yes, we work for tips. We're happy to take a photo with you. You know, it's $5 for this or $10 if you want to take a video, blah, 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 blah. He had a whole speech. And within a matter of hours, we had each made like $350 because he knew how to talk to people. He got it down to a science. And if you didn't, like, he would take a photo with you regardless, but he was like, we do work for tips. You know, these costumes are expensive. We're out here in the heat. We're here to make your day, and we're here to create really cool photos for you to take back to wherever you're from. So just keep that in mind when we take this photo. And people would hand over 20s, and he would reach into his pocket and pull out a 10. He'd pocket the 20, he'd hand me the 10, and everything we made, he split down the middle. And by the end of the day, we were friends.
Wow, that is so sweet.
And then he said, there's another guy out here who does the Mad Hatter, and he's rubbish. And it was...
I did say that. I did say that. Because
he was right.
The other fellow was out there, and I get it. He was trying to make money. And he was wearing the sort of Halloween costume. And he would take, and he never wore underwear. And he would say, take a picture with the Mad Hatter.
He didn't get it. He didn't understand the character. And you and I understood the characters. And it was fun to banter because that was literally the moment I met you. And we added each other on Facebook later that day. And we've been chatting ever since. And we're the only people who actually understand the other. So, it's a shame you're not in California, because if you were here, you'd be here with us right now.
That is also true. That is also true.
And we miss you terribly. And it's funny because I'll tell you right now, let me show you something just real quick while we're completely derailing the conversation. There's a painting that Richard Lale made hanging right here.
That is true.
For V. What was that, V? What'd you say? Why aren't you here, Richard Lale? See, you're missed.
Well, maybe I will be. Who knows?
Okay. Anyway. She wants to know if she needs to make a place setting for you for tomorrow. Listen, if you start walking now,
you'll be there by Christmas.
Yeah, absolutely. I am so sorry for derailing the conversation. This just turned into the Chad and Richard Lale hour, which incidentally we should do. I maintain it would be a hit.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. You did not derail. We are, Courtney, Jason, and I are just being completely entertained, as is everybody in the chat room.
Yeah, this has been fun. I'm down. This is what I wanted it to be because I mean it's great to see somebody love these characters, and it's obvious that you two love these characters, right?
Well,
And
we do
yeah.
love these characters, and we don't like to fight anymore. So we don't talk about Willy Wonka anymore. We only talk about the Addams family, because where he really loves the Munsters and I really love the Addamses, we have a mutual understanding because he's a. You can say it again.
A pip.
Yes, that never gets old. She's a pimp.
She's a pip. Richard, Layla, and I will call each other, and we will just talk for hours in nothing but Adams Family quotes. I'm on the spot right now, so I can't think of any, but I'm sure there must be something. Okay, V says I should only ever be Uncle Fester or the Trunchbull, because Uncle Fester's the other one that she really likes. Do I need to send pictures of Uncle Fester now?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll be back.
Bye. This is fun. It's like our holiday special with our special guest. This is awesome. That is good. And while we're waiting for him, does anybody have any thoughts of their own about this movie? Courtney.
Oh boy. Okay. Well, after that, which is exactly, again, just like Jason said, what I hoped it would be today.
Me too.
I feel kind of terrible to say that my thoughts on this movie and any iteration of Wonka is not good. I don't have good notes on it. I dislike every version of it. I think it's terrible and boring, and obviously I just don't get it like you guys do, and so I'm not gonna put sunglasses on about it, but I don't know. I didn't rewatch it because I could not force myself to, and again because it's not my favorite thing. See, yes, Saw and the Chocolate Factory. I would love to play a game. I would love to play a game if there was more blood, or I don't know, anything like that. Maybe I would feel differently. But those are my thoughts.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, I had never seen this film before. I must actually say I had never seen it, and I am a big Johnny Depp fan as a rule. I like all his quirky characters, but I didn't like him in this one so much. I didn't. He just it's forced or wrong, or I don't even know the right words for it. And I admit I was tired because I was stuck in an airport in Dallas all day before that. And I could not keep awake. And that doesn't seem right for a Tim Burton, Johnny Depp film for me not to be able to stay awake, but I couldn't. I missed the end. I don't know how it ended. So I'm gonna have to get that from everybody else. So yeah, I was disappointed. I hardly remember Gene Wilder. I have to watch it again. I have watched it, but I love the Timothy Chalamet version. So that could be a whole conversation for another day, I guess.
That was the one I hated the least.
What, Chad? You hated the least. That's good.
Right.
That's a good quote. I hated it the least.
Still hated it, but hated it the least.
That
Chad.
movie,
Go
if I may jump in, and I think Richard Lale, because Richard Lale, you've seen it, right?
I haven't. I refuse.
Okay, that's totally fine. That
I hate
movie
it on principle.
that movie rests entirely on the shoulders of the supporting cast. They carry that movie. Everyone around Timothy Chalamet carry that movie. I believe him to be horribly miscast. However, I also recognize that the reason the movie was made was probably because he expressed interest. Because if he hadn't, the movie wouldn't have been made. That being said, there are things that movie got right and things that movie got wrong. I am very much of the opinion, and this is a problem I had with the Tim Burton film, is I don't need a backstory for Willy Wonka.
That's my problem too.
I think he can just exist. Christopher Nolan said in an interview when he was developing Heath Ledger's version of the Joker that the studio kept wanting a backstory for the Joker. Like, where'd the Joker come from? And he was like, we're not going to do that. We're just going to let him be. He is this force that exists in the universe, and that's it. Like, we don't need to know where he came from. And I really agree that Willy Wonka is one of those characters where if you've read the book, you know he's way older than he looks because he's been doing things to keep himself alive. If you read the second book, you find out, again, spoiler, he actually has pills that make you younger. So that's what he's been doing for so long to just keep the factory going because he loves the factory, he loves the Oompa Loompas, and he doesn't want it to fall into the wrong hands. And that's what eventually leads us down. Oh, it is? Ah, there are pizzas sitting on the front porch. Um, but when I watched the Timothy Chalamet movie, which I have watched it quite a few times, the music is very charming and delightful. The message is very Roald Dahl. I think if he were to watch it, he would be absolutely furious. I think he would be livid. I think that he would have extensive notes about everything wrong with it. But I think that the things that I like about it, he would be like, however, you did get this right. I think that is one little caveat about Roald Dahl that I will say
He
is he would
famously
have
didn't
hated
like
it.
any version of any of his works.
No, he didn't. He would despise and you know what? And I respect that because I'm sure if somebody was to take something I had written and make a movie of it, I would have problems with it. But at the same time, I also know that like as a person who as a child was very much an outsider, I idolized the character of Wonka because he figured out how to do it. He did it on his own terms. And he said I reject your reality and I substitute my own, and he did, and he built his own, and I respect that. I mean, Richard Lale lives in that reality every day of his life because he took the inside of his house and he made it into this absolute, I mean, it is a museum, it is an art installation, it is ever evolving, it is he got the reference, thank you Richard Lale, I knew you would, but he he gets it. He understands. And that's one of the things that, you know, we can both bicker that really at the end of the day. Okay, so there's our Adams Family group, and there's me as Uncle Fester.
Wow, that's beautiful.
That coat is made out of a couch that I found on the side of the road.
Wow.
I hope you don't run into JD Vance.
Oh, God.
Oh, whoa.
I also sent a picture of the Mad Hatter in case you guys hadn't seen what my Mad Hatter costume looks like. But
Wow.
that's Hatter.
Amazing. Amazing. So
Yeah.
beautiful. Thank you. Ah, so cute. Oh my God. All right. Moving on. Back to this movie. This is great. Jason.
You know, I don't know what to say about this movie. I know Richard Lale loves it, and it's not as bad as I remember it being after I watched it, the second time now, I think, in my life. But if you grew up on the Gene Wilder version, I think that's just the one that you like the best. I mean, when you look at Chad dressed as Willy Wonka, you know it's Willy Wonka, and he's wearing the Gene Wilder stuff, right? I mean, that to most people, I think, is Willy Wonka. And I know there's a bunch of people who like this movie, but I don't think it's the cultural touchstone that the original one was. Also, you don't have the really cool songs, Oompa Loompa, which most people remember. And what's up with like only one Oompa Loompa?
I'll tell you why.
I don't get that at all.
Because it's I hate to say this. I would tell people I am not a racist. I never run anywhere. Huh. Anyway, the reason is because they were originally an African tribe of pygmies. And how many times do people who are racist say they all look alike?
He changed that though in 1970. He changed that in 1970 though.
Yes.
He like then they became hippies.
Yes.
And now there's no mention to their size.
They became so violently Aryan. They went in the plumb opposite. He went in the absolute opposite direction. They're described as blonde-haired and blue-eyed, and the original illustrations they look like hippies. They've got beards. They're also described as wearing deer skins, which I think is really interesting because he kept a tri-element, and I do think it's somewhat fascinating that neither version made the Oompa Loompas completely accurate.
Yes.
The Gene Wilder version did what they did because they were like, let's try to be as delicate as possible. Let's make them completely fictional so that no one could possibly be offended. And that's why you have green hair and orange faces and white. Wouldn't you know it that no one ever thought that any creature with an orange face would ever exist in reality.
And here we are.
And here we are. We're losing a little bit, Chad. Is your phone hot?
It is very hot. Yes. Oh, I see what you're
Because
saying.
you're
You should
getting
go in the freezer.
staticky. You're getting staticky. I put mine in the freezer earlier today.
I love when Chad puts us in the freezer. I laugh about this for like hours afterwards.
Put in the freezer with the pie.
Mhm.
Courtney, do we have any quotes on this?
Yeah, and thankfully, I was a little worried because I only got like 3. So the Chad and Richard Lale hour saved me. I took 3 from this movie and I took 1 from the original. So from this movie, Willie says, "Everything in this room is eatable. Even I'm eatable. But that's called cannibalism, my dear children, and is in fact frowned upon in most societies." Which seems like a very me quote. So, the grandma says, "You smell like peanuts. I love peanuts." And Willy Wonka says, "Oh, thank you. You smell like old people and soap. I like it." And then he says, "Little girl, don't touch that squirrel's nuts. It'll make him crazy," which was problematic, I felt like. And then from the original, the last lines, Willie says, "But Charlie, don't forget what happened to the man who suddenly got everything he always wanted." And Charlie said, "What happened?" And he said, "He lived happily ever after." So those are my quotes.
That was a good quote to end on. That's beautiful.
I liked it.
Mr. Mankey, do we have a Mankey movie moment?
Is this the day that Jason and I are going to be aligned instead of enemies?
I don't know. I'm still not sure how I'm voting. I'm still thinking about it a lot.
All right.
The Mandela effect refers to an incident of collective false memory.
Oh boy.
There have been many Mandela effects over the years, many of them related to films. The most famous one involves the comedian Sinbad, starring in a 1990s film as a genie. That film never existed, but millions swear it does. I think I saw it on TBS back in 1996, for example, but nothing seems to confirm this. Other Mandela effects include additional Indiana Jones movies. There were only ever 3, and the franchise stops at The Last Crusade. Indy would never travel back in time or have anything to do with aliens. CGI is responsible for false memes featuring Nicolas Cage yelling, "Not the bees," in what is said to be a scene from the fictional remake of The Wicker Man. There has only ever been one Wicker Man movie, period. Why anyone would sully the legacy and reputation of the one and only Wicker Man with a remake defies all logic. More recently, there have been rumors of 2 Ghostbusters sequels starring bratty children instead of, the Ghostbusters. I love the Lady Ghostbusters movie, and there has not been a Ghostbusters movie since that was released back in 2016. For years, I believed that stories about a new movie featuring Charlie Bucket, Grandpa Joe, and Willy Wonka were also a victim of the Mandela effect. Why would anyone mess with perfection? But apparently, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory was a real movie, and it starred Johnny Depp and was directed by Tim Burton. Helena Bonham Carter is also in the film, which doesn't come as much as a surprise because she was in every Tim Burton film during this period. And after Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, I have never wanted something to be a hallucination so badly. Current political administrations notwithstanding. Sure, it's a Willy Wonka movie, but it's also one of the most Tim Burton-y movies ever made. The whole film seems like something I've seen before, only we've replaced Batman with Willy Wonka. There's often a sameness to Burton's visual palette, and I think that is on full display here. And Burton's muse, Johnny Depp, here at the height of his Johnny Deppness. "Look at me, I'm quirky," seems to be Depp's character motivation. The result is something deeply unpleasant and looks like something that's a cross between Marilyn Manson and a Clockwork Orange. Yes, Wonka can be menacing, but he's also not supposed to be an imbecile, children. Much of the problem with this movie stems from Gene Wilder being Willy Wonka first. Do you see memes online with Depp as Wonka? No, you only see Gene Wilder, which is how it should be. And the songs, the score of the film is fine, but where are the songs? Where's the land of pure imagination? Where's a song about the golden ticket? Where is the whimsy? Why am I stuck with just the bleakness of Burton and Depp? Oompa loompa doompa dee doo. Here is a movie that makes me say ooh. Oompa loompa doompa dee dee. From the TV I had to flee. What do you get with too much depth? Something like the throat of strep. A movie of Tim Burton overkill. This film is a giant load of swill. I'm really sorry, Richard Lale. I know that you love this movie. I really feel bad.
I turned my
Oh, he turned his light off.
His purple light.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
And I like that color.
ah.
Jason. It
Yeah.
wasn't even me this time.
I know. I felt guilty the whole time. Also, Heather texted me earlier this week when I said I may not be on the show. She goes, "You have to give me backup. I hate this movie so much."
I
Oh.
will tell you there are 3 things I hate about it. 3 things I hate about this movie. 3 things. I hate the fact that he is impersonating George Bush. I hate that whiny voice. That's so annoying. That's annoying. That is annoying. And as much as I love Christopher Lee, I despise the whole backstory. I despise the backstory. I also despise, what was the third thing? I can't remember. It doesn't matter. There were 2 things I despise about this film. 2 things.
The sheep joke. You've related to me in the past that you don't care for the sheep joke.
Oh, yeah, I didn't like that one. I did forget about that. I forgot that I didn't like the sheep joke.
I almost quoted the sheep joke.
I didn't like whipped cream either.
Yeah, because they're whipping the cow. They're not whipping
the cow.
the
They're
cream.
whipping a cow.
They should have been whipping the cream under the cow. Or
Yes.
better yet, don't have the cow. Just have a big vat of cream.
Yeah, I did
Not
not like
now, man.
my animal moments. Okay. Well, we are getting low on time, and we have to vote. Wands up or wands down. So, all you beautiful people, jump in the chat room. I know it's been a very special, very wonderful evening. Wands up or wands down.
I don't have a wand, so I'm going to use the straw out of my Stanley cup.
Just for you,
Mine
Richard
is so-
Lale. I'm
mine
at
is
a
so
half
far
mast.
Mine is so far up, it's up here.
I think I'm voting wands down for the movie. But had I watched the Richard Lale Chad Hatter hour instead of the movie, then I would be giving it a wands up because that was way more
I
interesting.
love that you're using a tooth cleaner because
It's a cricket weeder, actually, because I'm in a craft room right now.
oh, okay. To me, it looks like what you pick your teeth with because you ate too much chocolate and you got to go to the dentist.
Right, it does look like that. It's for peeling vinyl off of things, but I'm borrowing a craft room and I just took what I could reach.
Oh, that's
It looks
great.
like something Christopher Lee would use as the dentist in Willy Wonka.
Yes, completely.
Or,
That's
sorry, Charlie.
all right. So everybody out there, is anybody voting? Am I missing it?
One's up, one's down. First one, the last 2 down. One's down. It was okay. I think I placed my wand as neutral. One's up for type 2 diabetes and tooth decay.
Okay,
Yeah.
there it shows up. Okay, there it
Yeah.
goes. One's up, one's all the way up, one's down. So this is a very mixed film, and which makes sense because it's one of those films that there's not too much middle ground, except I'm taking middle ground on it. What are we doing next week? Do we know? I think I probably won't be here next week because I'm going to be doing a haunted doll tea party at the Lizzie Borden house. Yeah.
Is that next week?
Yes.
All right, so I might not be here next week either then.
Ooh, yes.
I might have to crash the haunted doll party.
Okay. Yes, please do. All right, but what are we doing next week?
Jason and Heather will debate for an hour on the show about something.
Next 3 movies are Sorcerer's Apprentice, Wicked 2, if it's streaming, Red 1 special gift assignment. That's per the host.
Yeah.
So, Sorcerer's Apprentice, you and Heather will be arguing on that one for an hour.
The Nicolas Cage Sorcerer's Apprentice movie? Is that a thing?
Maybe. I don't know.
Oh,
Yes, I
someone
think that's the only one.
pray for me. Pray for me now. Everyone, pray.
I think I might actually have the flu next week.
Yeah.
Unless I'm off on days, but I'm pretty sure that that's where I'm going to be. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Anyway, you guys, anything coming up that you want to talk about that's coming up other than join me in Lizzie Borden house next week or this weekend? Yeah, that you can't come to that, Virginia City. Yeah.
Have a great holiday, everybody. That's what I got to say.
Oh, yeah. Happy Thanksgiving, however you celebrate, whatever pie, turkey. You guys, thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Chad, for bringing your magic.
I stayed way longer than I wanted to, but I'll make up the time. I've got a path to cut out so that V can have her living room back.
He's a magician and a chocolate whiz and a costume whiz.
Oh, thank you. All right, it is that time. So when do we all want to cackle like Willy Wonka?
I don't think anyone should cackle. I think just Richard Lale should do a Willy Wonka
Yes,
laugh.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, just Richard Lale.
Okay, all right, here we go.